Lately on YouTube, I've seen like a few of those videos that say, who should pay on the first date? Should it be the male or the female? Like, should it be the man that pays? Or what does it mean when the man wants to pay or whatever? I've just read the titles and I don't watch those kind of videos just because I'm not dating. I don't really care. But as someone who did date once upon a time, many moons ago, this question is age old. And I just can't believe that in this day and age, it's still being asked. I'm just flabbergasted when I see that question being asked. Like, why? Why are we asking this? So, my personal opinion is that it shouldn't even matter who pays by now. Like, who cares? But let's go a little bit, I guess, into this. I actually think that it really shouldn't come down to whether the male or the female in that friendship at that point, hoping for a relationship, pays or doesn't. It really should come down to whoever desires, right? Like, we all have the desire of either paying or being paid for. Secondly, and this is probably more important because it's more obvious, is who earns the money? Who earns the most money? Because by now, both men and women work. Once upon a time, the man kind of had to pay because it was part and parcel with the man trying to show that he was going to look after this woman if things went well, because he was always going to be the income earner. And we're talking like these are archaic cultural beliefs that were held once upon a time. And I would say that a lot of this is rooted in that. Probably not the only one that says it, or can see it. But by now, both males and females hold the jobs. So why doesn't it just come down to who earns the money, who earns more money than the other, which should be pretty obvious, considering that probably by the time you're meeting up in person for, especially in this day and age, in person for your first date, wouldn't you have had some online chats prior, and wouldn't you know what the other one does? Are they a student? Are they a full-time worker? Are they a part-time worker? What industry are they in? What's their position held? Like, kind of would be obvious. So that's what I think. If I were ever in the dating game again, which I really hope never to be in the dating again, I'm quite happily married for 22 years now, been together 24 years. That's a really long time. It's like a lifetime. That's like our relationship is a full-grown person now. Whew. But if ever I was, that's what I'd be looking out for, personally. When I was young, I did go on a date, and I wasn't sure if the guy was going to pay or not. I was a kid of the 90s who was quite happy to pay her own way, even if it meant bringing a bunch of coins out of her purse, and that's exactly what I did. So I went on this date. This guy asked me, we were going to the movies. Movie tickets at the time, bless, were only $9. And I managed to scrounge the last few coins that I had before the next payday. As I was a student, I scrounged up $9 in coins. And I put them in my wallet and hoped and prayed so much that he would be willing to pay for the ticket, because not because I couldn't, right? I couldn't. It wasn't like I couldn't pay. I did actually have the money for the movie ticket, but it was all in coins, and I was just so deeply embarrassed. And I thought, if he offers to pay, that's going to be really awesome, and I'm going to be so eternally grateful to him. But he didn't think to pay. Now, to be honest, I didn't want to show him that I was hoping he would pay either. So I also stepped forward confidently, like equally with him, to the ticket booth, and he must have seen that I was willing to pay and he just let me pay. So he paid for his ticket, and then I paid for my ticket, bringing out coin by coin by coin in the purse, from the purse. And I was just like thinking, I'm just gonna totally pretend that this is totally what I do. I like use my coins. And I want to use my coins tonight. I don't want to use my notes. I don't want to use my card, my bank card. Like, please. So funny. But I was mortified that I had to do that. And I really did hope that he would pay, because he wasn't a student. He had a full-time job, and a well-earning full-time job. But anyway, it didn't matter. He didn't make me feel uneasy. He didn't make me feel uncomfortable. He was really, really lovely guy. I've never forgotten him. He was just so, he was a big party boy, but he was such a gentle, beautiful guy. Lovely guy who I think, given a chance, would have treated me really well. Anyway, I'm going off on a tangent now, remembering the boy, the one that got away. Because I pushed him away. It was what I did best. I pushed away. Anyways, so I think honestly by now it really comes down to who earns money. Do you both earn money? Well, just go with the flow and see how it goes. Like, why does it have to mean anything? Why does the guy wanting to pay mean anything? It's just money, right? It's just money. I think some people would go, oh, well, it's a red flag because that means the guy wants to control the woman if he offers to pay. And, well, same could be said for the woman. Well, the woman wants to control. She's offering to pay when she doesn't have to. But maybe it doesn't have to mean anything. It's a very nuanced, I think, nuanced discussion, nuanced topic. But it doesn't have to be. I guess that's my whole point. That's my whole point. I definitely think that, like, finances is very tricky, even in marriage. It's so tricky. Even 24 years down the track, trust me, it can be very tricky. Like, hubby and I did not combine our finances till we started a business together. Before that, we had each held our own jobs and therefore had our own income, and therefore decided who would pay what. And then we joined in partnership for a business, and decided that then I would look after the admin side of things, which naturally leads into me being the one to move the monies, right? So I've been managing our finances for the past 12 years. And it's really interesting to come across situations where I make certain decisions that then he's not necessarily happy with. And then that leads into discussions, sometimes really heavy discussions, sometimes arguments. And I end up finding out along the way that I had assumed that we were on the same page. I had assumed that our values were the same. Just because maybe, I don't know, maybe his behaviors in other areas of life then made me assume that with finances he would believe the same way as I did. And so there's certainly things that I have to kind of either stand up for or just be open to realizing that our values are different, and or not necessarily values, it's not always very different values. Sometimes it's just a different perspective on the same value, on the same thing when it comes to money. And I have to just, we have to come to an agreement. So yeah, finances are a tricky thing. I think that, a lot of us humans, the reason why we end up with issues from date number one as to who should pay and what does it mean if the other person offers to pay, through to marriage and realizing 20 years later that maybe we don't hold the same view on a certain topic of expenditure. I think what contributes to that is us humans confusing money with power. I think, like we go, well, I've got the money, therefore I have the power. Or I bring in the money, therefore I have the power. Or maybe maybe people would think, well, I don't bring money in, so I'm powerless and I can only do what the income earner says we should do. And that, I'm not sure where that comes from. Like, if we look back in history, where did that come from? I guess it comes from, again, the patriarchal origins of men being the one to go out and earn the income. Therefore, to this day, money is paired up with that sense of power or concept. But again, I'd like to say, like, why does it have to? It doesn't have to equal power. It's nothing. It's just money. It's like money is just a tool. Some people might be like, well, you're a bit dismissive of money, aren't you? I think I am a little bit dismissive of money, because money can, or the say the lack of money or decisions around money, where you have to make those decisions with someone else, such as a lifelong partner, can cause so many issues. And it's like, there's a part of me that's always thinking it really doesn't have to cause so many issues. And then I read, financial gurus or hear their podcasts or watch their videos, and they're like, at the end of the day, money is a tool. And I think, well, none of us are fighting over hammers or nails or set of keys to the car. They're tools. Or a dishcloth. That's a tool. So why do we argue about money? So then I'm like, meh, it doesn't have to. Can we just separate whatever concepts and beliefs we're tying to money? Let's just not. Easier said than done, though, right? But I guess that's what I'm bringing forward, like a challenge. Like, why does any of this have to mean anything? Who pays on the first date? Who brings in the money, even in a 20-year marriage? Like, why does it have to mean anything? But yeah, they're just my random thoughts this afternoon. Yeah. So on with my tea. Ta-ta!